It's
a unique
three-coat
system that looks like rich premium quality paint, 12 to 15 times thicker, and is guaranteed for 25 years against chipping, cracking, and peeling. A three-coat system.
Yeah, that's big. Right there, what you got here, Brazil, India, and Japan are considered the top three worst offender nations of this crime.
Oh, Japan's really
big stuff.
Who's opening the show?
They have been more than 400 kidnappers
Who's
since
opening?
1994. Because I'm not going to be
Yeah,
able
when we come in,
if I was
I
more
do the-
prepared, I'd have
You
it
do?
written
Okay,
down, but
good.
I don't.
That's what
You
I
gotta
wanted to
help
know.
me out with this one.
No problem.
We want to cover this.
This is the
stuff.
best shot too.
And I don't have enough time because I'd rather I opted to go live with you. That would have been my time to write this stuff down.
Sure.
But to do a little prep for the show, I chose to do that. So, and I just been real busy, man.
Got the shades on
I
now.
understand, bro.
and I knew I was gonna. It's all about communication. I knew that I was going to do what I did and then communicate with you to make sure we cover this stuff. Jimmy, I know just touch on stuff, but I want Stan to talk a lot, and more as much as we can. As much as he can. And we'll get Annette involved. She's the only. Annette is our colleague in Chicago. She's calling live from Chicago. Okay.
Are not necessarily those of the owners, management, employers, and advertisers of WCBM, but they should be.
Speak Your Mind is sponsored by Derek Stroman and Stroman Entertainment. This is Talk Radio 680 WCBM. Time now for
Hey guys, welcome to Speak Your Mind here on WCBM 680 Talk Radio. I've been gone and now I'm back. I'm Jimmy Zane.
And I'm your host, Derek Stroman. Welcome.
How you doing, Derek?
Hey man, what's going on?
Same old, same old. We got super producer Ron Savage in the booth. What's up, Ron? Yes. Yes, that's right. Got to go. Well, I tell you, Derek, we got a special guest here tonight. Why don't you tell everybody who the guest is?
Our guest is B. Stan Hunkovic. And Stan is, man, he's going through a lot. There's a lot of people out there. I don't care who you are, man, woman, child.
Very touchy situation.
Yeah, very touchy. I just couldn't imagine going through, personally, myself, what you're going through. And, that's why we decided to bring you into the studio tonight.
Let people
to the
know
Speak
your
Mind
story.
show.
You know what I mean?
Is to get your story out there. Now, granted, here we are at WCBM 680, and you're on the Speak Your Mind show, and you've been on big stations, big networks, Channel 11, that's WBAL, Fox 45 talking about your story, Channel 13 talking about your story, and you've even touched into our current presidential administration, which is the Trump administration right now. So you got a lot of people,
Got a lot of supporters.
a lot of ears out there listening to your story. However, even with all of that, all of these people, all of these top networks that are aware of your current situation, it's still not that easy, and you still do not have your children in your custody right now. And I just want you to reach out to all our WCBM listeners. Guys, if you want to call in and get involved in this conversation, the number to call is 410-922-6680. If you'd like to call and talk to Stan about his current situation, he's gonna enlighten us with what it is he's going through. He's gonna give us some figures. He's gonna give you some sites to go to if you'd like to, help out.
Yes.
In his predicament here,
And pertain your questions strictly to the situation. Let's not have anybody call. We don't want to talk about sports. We don't want to talk about any of that. This is a very serious situation, and we want people to hear it, understand it, and hopefully can help out. So just remember that when you call in.
yes.
Thank you, Derek. Thank you, Jimmy and Ron. This all started back in 2010. Actually, before that, I married my now ex-wife, Leah from Trinidad. Used to call her my little coconut. She had, of her own admittance, said she was hard-headed, but she was sweet inside. So that's what I called her, my little coconut.
Little coconut.
Yeah. And I was happily married. I loved her so much. And then we had a little boy, Gabriel, and then he was changed my world forever. You know what I mean? When you have a little child. Gabriel used to sit on my shoulder. Used to carry him around everywhere I went. And then Anastasia came into our life of this year. And the last time I saw them was November of 2011. The last time I heard their voice was December 23rd of 2013. And I say I heard her voice. I heard their voices in the background. I called to speak to them as a court order was given. However, it was never abided by. I used to have to call out to them. They were never actually put on the phone except for once when she called me up asking for money. And she doesn't answer the phone. So, on a rare occasion, she does answer the phone. She hangs it up immediately. She filed for divorce in January of 2010, and then we had an emergency court order February 25th of 2010 for her not to leave the country.
And that went for you as well. Let's let everybody understand it. The judge said, turn your passports in. Nobody is to leave this country.
Exactly. That was for both of us. And so I turned over my passports. Little did I know that she had already gone to the Trinidad Embassy, and with U.S. birth certificates, were able, without my knowledge, consent, or permission, she was able to go to the Trinidad Embassy and get birth certificates, not even passports, but emergency certificates to leave the country. And if you think about this is really scary. This could have been anybody's children. Because my little girl was only 6 months old. My little boy was a year and a half. So they could have kidnapped anybody's children and said that they were theirs using birth certificates.
Well, that's actually happened. That's actually happened. And that there's been cases for that. But with your case...
I want to, we talked about this a little bit just briefly ago. So can you tell everybody out there, before you even go any more in depth about this particular situation, this is something that is not rare at all. This is happening in a couple key countries or sovereignties quite often, and the numbers are staggering. So this is, it's happening to you. However,
it's strangers, but that's only 3% of all abductions.
I never knew that.
And international parental child abduction is one of the worst offenders. It's usually done by somebody who's a narcissist or has a borderline personality disorder, and it's all about control.
Sure.
And it's very abusive to children. Since Congress has been keeping track of it, there's been over 47,000 children that have been abducted out of the United States that have been reported. Now, I can tell you that I go before Congress every year with a group of people, and I can tell you with Dave Goldman, when he first went up before Congress to speak before Chris Smith, that there were parents out there that were just so devastated that they could not even get out of bed, you know what I mean, or could not even talk to anybody. That, it just is so traumatizing.
Sure.
So it is a big problem. Japan itself has over 400 children kidnapped since 1994, and not a single child has ever been returned. Now, there's a federal law in place, and there are, since the Goldman Act, that based upon that federal law, that there are steps that the State Department can take. But the worst that they usually ever do is send a demarque, which is a note saying, you've been a bad country, don't do this. Basically saying that we're upset about this. And then they'll send another demarque next year. But there's another step that's supposed to be done, and that was happening, actually about to happen with Dave Goldman's case, where they're going to file sanctions against Brazil. And if it wasn't for Chris Smith and all the television,
right?
Yeah, television that was
televised,
being televised and everything like that, he might have never got his child back.
But your case is a high-profile case.
It is.
Why are you having such a difficult time? Why are you having such a difficult time knowing that it's been pronounced that it is actual kidnapping that has taken place?
Let the listeners know that what happened is his wife went back to her country with these children against Trinidad, against court orders, So, but she somehow got an emergency petition to take these kids.
Right.
So she kidnapped him, but in a legal sense. But what I don't understand is her lawyer must have knew that she was going to the airport. I mean,
So she had already filed for divorce in the United States in January 2010. We went before Judge Cox in Towson, Maryland. We got an emergency petition, which she participated in with her attorney, who had her on the phone, and she said that she would agree to an order not to leave the country. 2 hours later, she was on an air flight out of Air Caribbean out of New York.
who she used to work for.
Yes, she used
Her
to
brother
be.
is a pilot.
Yes, her brother, a pilot, he used to work for Air Caribbean. Her old boss, Brigadier John Sandy, had a security company when I first met him, and then became the head of national security for all of Trinidad.
And also to let people know that Air Caribbean is a government
Owned
airline,
Correct.
and that's sad.
So realistically, I mean, you can put two and two together. It doesn't take rocket scientists to figure out that she was actually pulling some strings. She had some people in the right places because
Her father.
obviously, just a normal person wouldn't be able to do what she was able to do and actually get away with it so cleanly. And after so many years as well. I mean, this is a long time now. 7 years. You're talking about pushing a generation here that you haven't been with your children or been able to see your children. And like you were explaining in the pre-show, you even went over there. And it's not safe for you to go over there.
It is not. I was going every 2 to 3 months, so my children would know who I was. And at the time, Trinidad was not part of the Hague, and I petitioned based upon the Hague because Trinidad was a signatory to the Hague, and so was the United States, but they were not in bilateral agreement. So I asked, first of all, to have the jurisdiction sent back to the United States. I was granted temporary custody. So let me backstep one thing. So she had filed for divorce January 2010. Then in March 2010, after she abducted the children or kidnapped them, she went March of 2010. She filed for divorce in Trinidad, and she lied on those papers saying that there was no other proceedings going on anywhere in the world. So I went over there and I scrambled. I didn't know anybody there. I scrambled to try to find an attorney. I come to find out the attorney was ripping me off, charging me $350 an hour, sending me bills for $20,000 a pop, sometimes for 30 hours of telephone conversation. I don't talk to anybody on the phone for 30
Right.
hours. I don't think I talk on the phone a year for 30 hours. So I would argue with her about that, and she would demand that I need to pay her. So basically my children were being held captives. So then I was going back and forth. They delayed the case for over a year, and then they finally said that they're not. And I was, before I even participated in the court proceedings, I was granted temporary custody. I brought it over there. She was ordered to bring the children back. I requested through the courts to please bring them back, and so did the judge here in the United States.
All right, we're going to bring our friend Annette in after we come back from break. She's calling live from Chicago. I'm pretty sure she wants to get in on the conversation and ask you some questions as well. We have Stan Hunkovic. We'll be right back after these messages.
And the number to call is 922-6680. Yeah, I tell you, like I said, the problem with taking these kids to the country is the United States has no jurisdiction to do anything about it.
Yeah,
And,
that's a good first segment too. We got a lot of good meaty stuff in. Phone lines aren't blowing up yet. We have again Annette. She's in Chicago. We're going to bring her in. I just wanted to introduce her. That way, when we come back, I don't have to introduce her.
Her name is Annette.
Annette.
Okay.
Um,
Annette, right?
Annette.
Okay.
Annette.
So you can see
And
what they
you
look
know,
like, see what they feel like.
again, Chicago. That's the central part of the
877
country, Illinois.
Now to schedule a
Sounded
free
good.
in-home
Already plugged in that, and she's live.
Cool.
She's already plugged in. She's double it.
Yeah, I could tell she was already in. I seen because
Yeah, when she calls, I just throw. I'm gonna throw. You know, because she's been. Yeah, so I just throw her right in.
Yeah. She was. I just wanted to acknowledge her. So
Oh,
when
you
we
did
come
great.
back,
Yeah, because at those people, we got cats and we have callers. Well, they got callers. Let me call it. Give them an idea. Spontaneous.
right.
You can have an amazing new kitchen
Um,
at a
so
fraction
when
of
we
the
come
cost of
back,
custom remodeling with
you know,
chic
we're good.
cabinet
We already got her.
relocations
She's the
from
only
John
caller.
Hagee
We,
Remodeling.
you know,
Your
we had
kitchen
other
will look
guests
brand
right
new
now.
without all the time, mess, and cost
know,
of tearing
A lot more
everything
people
else.
when they hear
John
like
Hagee
something like
Professionals
interesting
will
like
handle
this,
all the project.
they're more
Countertops,
interested in
flooring,
listening than calling and talking
bring
about it
the
because
kitchen
they're
cabinets
they're
up
too
to
into
date,
the
new drawers,
thing now.
roll-out
Now when
trays,
we're
and
all
more.
having
It's
this
the
guests
winner
in
of
here and we're
many
goofing
awards
off
for
and being funny,
craftsmanship and
you'll get
customer
callers to
service.
call
John
in and
Hagee Remodeling now
to
and get half off savings.
knowing that they'll
Save half off
aggravate
the
us.
cost
You
of
know, I mean,
previous
like when we had the big Hillary and Trump thing, we had people calling to slam Hillary. Then we had one woman, a guest on here, it was a Hillary supporter, and she's like, "Well, I didn't come here to be insulted." I'm like, "Well, what the hell did you come here for? Because this is a conservative radio station." You know what I mean? Yeah, it was crazy, man. It was crazy.
Team also does expert kitchen remodeling, bath remodeling, additions, windows.
So we're still streaming live through all the breaks and everything. It's just you would have to stop it, start a new video, and so I just keep it going just so you guys know.
I couldn't get to sleep. I toss and I turn. My head would get hot and sweat into the pillows. Miserable.
So for me, I guess during the break, I'll just say a question that came up to me. You just can't imagine how difficult it is for you to go on with your everyday life, just having this feeling in your heart and your mind of just a piece of your life missing. So
2 pieces.
You're in the fire department?
I am a
Baltimore?
paramedic firefighter.
Really?
County.
No kidding, man.
27 years.
My daughter Emily, well, my brother-in-law Joe McNulty, he's in the city.
Okay.
But he
I know
also,
that name.
well, you got Kim McNulty, she's a nurse, and they used to fly on a helicopter.
Okay.
So did Joe. And my daughter Emily is an EMT.
In Baltimore City or
No,
Baltimore?
no. She works for a private company, but she's only 9. She's 20. She's getting ready to turn 21. But
They're
she,
hiring EMTs. No.
yeah, I know. She applied, so she's just waiting to,
Yeah,
you
yeah.
know. So we'll hear about that.
Yeah.
yeah, so your family, that's the part that I'm talking about. Your big part of your life that's gone. Your family, meaning your kids. So that's
Yeah.
Stan,
All right.
excuse me.
That's all right.
So we covered some stuff, and remember, like I said, during breaks, we try to figure out what it is that you want to make sure that you're covering everything that you want to talk about. We'll get ready to come back. So, Jimmy, you can go ahead and bring us back in. Make sure you're hitting on the points you want to touch on. You did good. That first segment was good. You covered a lot.
Thank you.
yeah, it was excellent.
And now more of Speak Your Mind with Derek Stroman on Talk Radio 680 WCBM.
All right, welcome back, everybody. The number to call is 410-922-6680. And I want you to call in. What would you guys do if this happened to you? What would you do if your kids were taken from you? And that's exactly what happened to our guest today. And we have Annette, who is in Chicago. She's part of our panel. Hello, Annette. How are you?
I am doing great. Hi, everybody. Hello. Hi, Sam.
Hi, Annette.
It's always good to hear her voice.
Thank you. It's always great to be here. And I didn't really want to interrupt his telling of the account of what's going on with his case. So if he wanted to continue with that, like he was talking before break.
I mean, what do you think about this? And I mean, what would you do? I mean, this is your world. Well,
And I've seen
you know?
your beautiful kids. Too,
Yeah.
man. Imagine. Just imagine that.
It's scary.
Yeah, it is.
So scary. Because,
I mean, it's a nightmare that he's not waking up from. That's, you know.
right. And, you know, I was wondering if the American Embassy is doing anything to help him if they can. I don't know why the embassies in these foreign countries don't get a little bit more involved. And if they can't get involved, then are they able to provide a safe sanctuary for these children if someone returns them there? Could they detain them and say, hey, you know, as
It's funny in that we were just talking about that before the show, and it's
Yeah.
very interesting that Trinidad is the embassy there is like one of the only ones it's not willing to give asylum.
So I can tell you this, that one of the avenues that I have through the Office of International Affairs, through the Office of Children's Issues, is to ask for a wellness and whereabouts check on my children. But the problem with that is it goes through the embassy, and the embassy tries to make a request and try to contact the mother to see if they can take some pictures of the children, see how their health is going, and whether they're in school and stuff like that. However, it is the mother has to give permission. Now, the strange thing about my case is that the children, even though I have custody, I have sole primary custody, the children were made wards of the court of Trinidad, wards of the court of Trinidad, basically like orphans. And so the embassy even went to the courts in Trinidad to see if they could make contact with my kids, and they refused to allow that to happen. I even requested that the embassy step in on a couple of hearings, and in the United States, hearings are open. Over there, everything's closed, and they refused to allow the embassy to enter into the courts so they could.
Here's a loose question for you. Here's a loose question. So, in our country here we have all the different parties and all, and the two top primary parties would be the Democrats and the Republicans. Okay, even though we're currently in a Republican administration, however, we're just getting out of a Democratic administration. Do you think either one of the parties is designed to deal with such an issue? It seems like from your battle, because again, our past administration was in Obama, his particular administration. It was a lot of his calls being made during a lot of, you figure, 7 years, right? We went through this. So
Right.
were you trying to do anything during that time? Obviously you were.
Sure.
This is kind of just a question to you to kind of help everybody pinpoint, like, what is our country doing? This is, all statistics are being kept, okay, on just about everything. If with this kind of high stat, it seems like somebody should be acknowledging this. We're not talking about anything minuscule here. We're talking about child abduction, human being abduction, kidnapping. It seems like our country should be a little more serious or pertinent about doing something about it.
Yeah, and I think one of the problems is the numbers that the State Department has been sharing are not accurate. They have the ability to keep track of that, and I think under this current administration, we're going to be seeing more accurate numbers, or trying to make something happen. And there's different branches of the government, and I don't want to. I can tell you, in Maryland, we're largely a Democratic state.
Sure.
And I have gotten tremendous help from Dutch Ruppersberger's office.
Okay.
Man, a guy PJ in there has taken me under, and I can't say enough about what he has done. Recently, Cardin has been helping out, and now we got Andy Harris. Yes.
Good job.
Thank
Ron.
you. And
Ron Savage.
You're right. Yeah, and Andy Harris is jumping aboard now because I just moved in his congressional district. So he has been awesome.
That's good. Listen, number to call, 410-922-6680. And to let you guys know, every minute a child is being kidnapped, and it's usually not by a stranger. We'll be right back after these messages.
Was that okay? Yeah.
That was great.
Okay, good. Good.
That's a nice outro.
Dude, I feel so bad for you. When I first heard about your case, I'm not kidding. I remember sitting there talking to my guys. I'm like, this reminds me exactly, of the case that did with, the guy leaving with the daughter, and yeah, it was crazy. He was from Jerusalem or whatever, and I remember Scott saying to me, Scott goes,
Jerusalem's a tough country too.
Jerusalem.
If you're a parent, you go over there.
Over and over. Well, how would
Yeah,
you like to never
it was
paint your
crazy.
house again? You can with
That's
Rico Seal.
and it was funny because when we first like was talking about it, Scott's like, yeah, and it's sad because his case, your case is documented. A lot of cases go undocumented.
Yeah, you're right.
A lot of cases go undocumented about it.
All right, so what?
Shield protects your
Very
home and even your
good
business against
couple
moisture,
segments. Look
damaging
what time it
rays
is.
of the sun, and you'll
fine.
even save energy
Well,
and
to me, it's
comes in
moving a little
lovely
slower. The
colors.
reason why it's moving
Colors.
slower,
If you like to look a beautiful, thick, rich
it's
paint,
moving
a
slow to me
25-year
because I'm so
warranty
used to
and
so
prices
much
will
activity
you.
going
Yeah,
on.
it's true. Yeah.
But right now, you have a lot of time left to get essential stuff in. Because remember, this is being recorded, so I have
I'll
documentation
mention
of
the
the show.
website. I'll mention the website.
Get
I
some of
got.
that stuff in there, coming back.
I mentioned the other fathers that I'm.
Yeah, it's not
Since
just
we're coming
you
up on
dealing with
Father-
this.
yes.
Yeah.
Father's
We're coming
Day,
up on Father's Day. You can mention that too.
Other people that have helped me out along the way.
Yep, exactly.
You know, the good thing,
Right on
good thing
it,
about
right
having
on
a
it.
show like this, you know, I mean, me, Derek, and P. Hill started talking
Everything's really
about
great.
this show. We created this show
But
in
now it's time
as
to
a
bring in
podcast
a
in my
little bit
basement.
of
Is that right?
support.
That's what we're talking.
And
That's what we're talking.
now
That's what
it's
you're
Bring
from
talking.
here. It's
You're doing
going.
great. Bring a little bit of support.
We
Tell
said
people
it.
where to go. 'Cause
We
some-
said it
Some
right
people
before you
won't
came
call
in.
in because they're too devastated, like you said.
Oh, they're too
they're-
busy
they're-
listening to the story.
But they will act upon giving a
Yeah.
support number, giving a support the email or a support site to go to.
Now
You got
you
a
see what I was
site,
talking
yeah.
about? How
Yep.
we're all on the same page.
Yep.
You see that? He
Yep.
wasn't in here. He didn't.
But like I said, the good thing about it is, I mean,
Crying. You don't know. It's not. We're able to do. You've been fighting. I can only imagine how hard you are right now. Like what you can really deal with. I couldn't imagine it because I would be going crazy. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, believe me, early on, it was. I thank God for what I do because I think that helped out a lot. You know what I mean? Deal with people in trauma and stuff.
Now more of Speak Your Mind with Derek Stroman and Jimmy Zane on Talk Radio 680 WCBM.
welcome back to Speak Your Mind here on WCBM 680 Talk Radio. I'm Jimmy Zane, and we got a caller on the phone. It's Barry from Dundalk.
Barry, baby.
How are you, Barry? Thanks for calling.
Hey, welcome to the show, Barry.
You're welcome. I don't know what's going on with these child abductions or anything, but Ronnie was just telling me that about them, right? Because I haven't heard nothing about them. So, what part of town is it happening in now?
A lot of the stuff that happens, Barry, goes undocumented, and you know, his case is documented, and it's sad because it happened right here in Maryland. It happened right here in Maryland, and it's documented. But there's so many cases out there that are similar to this that is not documented, and that's the problem. Is for some reason they're not documented because they don't know how to go about it. They don't know what to do. They report it to the police, and the police say, "Oh, there's nothing we can do about it."
But there's, I think I don't know if you've heard a little bit. I'm sorry, a little bit earlier. There's over 1,000 children, U.S. children, that are abducted out of the United States every year. 1,000 every year. Over 47,000 since 1979. It is becoming more prevalent, and there's the only ones that have been documented or reported.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people could be so devastated that they can't even get out of bed,
Right.
or just can't seem to bring themselves. They're embarrassed. They're destroyed inside. I've been working with a lot of parents, and I'd like to mention some of these fathers if I could. Karen Sanjeev, his 5-year-old son was taken in 2014 to India. Randall Murphy, his 2 children, Hannah and Ryan, were taken to Canada in 2012. We call this guy VJ to DJ because I can't pronounce his name right. But his beautiful son of 8 years old was taken in 2013, Nikita. Brian Tabler has been fighting for his girl, Joyce, since 2010. And they're a Hague country.
I just heard about I think a guy's daughter and son was taken, actually his wife took the kid to Trinidad.
That's
That's who our that's who our
special
that's who our guest is. There's your sign. Well, he didn't let his wife do anything. His wife took the kids.
She kidnapped him
Yeah,
against her
she-
court
right.
order.
Yeah, that's who our guest is, Barry.
That's okay.
Now, but
Hey.
you know what's crazy is Canada. Now, even though we don't have jurisdiction like that, but we do have a good rapport with Canada. Why is it? Canada's right there.
Yes, they are.
I can spit and hit Canada when I'm in New York. I mean, what the hell?
Yeah, and I can tell you this guy is the sweetest guy you ever want to meet, Randall Murphy. He's been fighting for his children since 2012.
This is crazy.
Yep.
Hey, Barry, thanks for the call, man. We appreciate it. Keep listening.
Hey, take care. Thanks for calling the Speak Your Mind show.
All right, thanks, Barry. You have a good night, man.
Thank you,
Be
Barry.
safe.
Keep my children in your prayers, please.
And happy Father's Day to you, Barry. All right.
All right. So a couple other guys, Jeffrey Morehouse, his children. One of the first guys I met when I came with David Goldman in 2010. His little boy Mochi was taken to Japan. He's got custody in Japan and in the United States, and he still can't get his son back.
That's crazy.
Can I ask you this real quick? Because I just thought about it. Because I too am married to a foreigner. My wife is from Iceland. But, my daughter...
Beautiful woman in Iceland, by the way.
Yeah, no, I was like, wow. I went there, I was so amazed.
Yes.
He's like, hey, ladies.
And ironically enough, my daughter's name is Leah. We decided to name her Leah.
Wow.
But I'm still trying to figure out, in my case, my daughter has dual citizenship.
Exactly.
Mhm.
Yep.
So, is that the case?
It is.
Okay.
So in my case, by Trinidad's law, just by entering into the air of Trinidad, they became citizens. So when she abducted them and took them into Trinidad's airspace, they automatically became citizens of Trinidad.
Why, that's their law.
That's their law.
Trinidad.
Yes.
And see, all of this stuff, all of these intricacies, your wife probably was fully aware of.
Well, you said your wife planned this. This was
And I'm sure. Well, she had connections. Brigadier
Right.
John Sandy was her old boss, who was head of national security. Now is with the United Nations, so he was very well connected with the government. I'm sure he was giving her. I don't know. You know what I mean? I don't know what was going behind, but there was a lot of people, I'm sure, helping her. I know, things didn't get bad with us until her mother came over.
It's so funny. I was going to ask you that, and I'm glad you started to talk about it because this is really personal stuff. We all, I'm a married man. I've been married almost 9 years now. There's ups and downs in a relationship all the time. What went wrong? What did you start to sense when things started going downhill? And you did because her mother came, right?
Well, and you know what's so strange? She didn't have a good relationship with her mother, and she asked for her mother if we minded if her mother stayed, and I was like, and matter of fact, she wouldn't even call her on holidays or tell her, and she was afraid to tell us that our children was even born.
wow.
So I would call them up on the phone, and I was encouraging her to have a relationship with her mother. Well, that really kicked me in the butt. But I said, sure, so we made a room. We bought all new stuff for her to have a bedroom and her own bathroom.
You
She
really
stayed
made
for
it
a month.
nice for her.
I did, and then as soon as she came over, she started creating division with us. She would keep. Leah refused to drive. She refused to go shopping. She was a stay-at-home mom. She wouldn't do anything. And after our son was born, I grew up with four sisters and a brother, so it was 6 of us in the family. I grew up changing my little brothers and sisters' diapers, and then their babies, and then and so I had a lot of experience dealing with that. Children, it was just natural to me. Then when Leah had never had any involvement with children before, so it was scary for her.
How old is she?
Leah now is probably 48 or 50.
Okay, so it's not like she was just some young, hot internet chick. This was a woman that you met. I mean,
Yeah,
what I mean?
she was in her 40s when I met her. Yeah.
Right.
So no, she was 38 at the time,
Okay.
and so and yeah,
You didn't
she
get
wasn't like
you didn't get duped on this one. This was no just hook up over like he said, you
A
know,
mail order bride
mail
or
order.
anything.
Yeah, this was an established relationship for.
Well, you knew her for what, a
however-
year?
a year and a half.
However long.
Yeah.
Where did you guys actually meet?
Well, I met her on a Catholic website, and we talked for the longest time. I went over to meet her family. She told me, I hate to say what she said, but she told me her family didn't want me to see her. She said her mother slapped her, and said, "I don't want to meet any American boy. And called her a name." That's what she told me. So I never met her, but I met some of her friends who I'm still friends with today. And she will not speak to them. And matter of fact, a couple that met over the same website was there in Trinidad when I came. And they're living in Texas now, happy. They got beautiful children, gorgeous, loving Christian family. And Leah won't even speak to them or any of them. And they've reached out on my behalf for the behalf of the children. And you know, this is the number one thing. You know, this is, I can't tell you how traumatic it was. Crazy, insane when it first happened. I was like walking down the street. I can't believe it. My children have been kidnapped. You know what I mean? And just shaking my head. It's just,
And it still hits you because you're still like, you're sitting there and you just want to wake up from this bad nightmare and you can't.
and I can't even talk to my kids to see how they're doing or take them to a ball game or, you know, I mean, here in Trinidad, children can come over to the United
Right.
States and go to Disney World and all this other.
Right.
My children can't do any of that
Right.
stuff. So, so the first 3 to 5 years, it was just crazy. And I just worked all the time. I worked. I fought. I went to Congress. I went to, D.C. to, talk to me, fighting things through courts, flying back and forth to Trinidad. And it was just like the first 7 years. I mean, we're in 7.5 years now. Had just gone by because I was either working or I was going to court.
What kind of work do you do? For
I'm a paramedic firefighter with Baltimore County over 27 years.
Good
Well,
deal.
thank you for your service.
Yeah.
Thank
Hey,
you.
is there ever a time where you're sitting there and you put your head down, you're like, I can't do this anymore. I'll give up.
Or
Or you feel like it, but you can't. I mean,
and here's the thing. People say all kinds of things to you and they mean well and stuff that kind of like just hits you. And right after this happened with my kids, I can tell you I've had kids that were either try to commit suicide, self-mutilated themselves where they cut their arms, or overdose. And to a child, I can tell you, every one of them told me that their father gave up on them. And that weighs on my heart.
Yeah.
I will never give up when you gave her on Anastasia. Never. And I want you to know that I love you and I miss you. And there's not every beat of my heart, every breath that I take, I think about you. And, I have a support group of a lot of other parents that have been left behind. And we meet together and we support each other. And it's like your child dies every day. You wake up, you get some hope, you fight for another day, and then you feel like your child has died. And you wonder if you're ever going to see them again or if they ever know that they're going to love you.
It's sad. There's so many kids out there that would love to have a father like you. And you are the father that every child would want, and then she's keeping them from that. And that's sad. And I tell you, it's.
I'm impressed by your bravery.
Yeah, man, I tell you.
Jimmy's got kids. I have kids.
It breaks my heart, man. It does.
Scott Collier from Dundalk Television is also here in the studio. I don't know if Scott has children as well, but just the sheer thought of what you're going through again is something so major. We're coming up on Father's Day here. I mean, it probably just gets harder and harder. Some days are worse than others, I can only imagine. So, again, anything we can do here at the Speak Your Mind show, we're going to do to try to help and keep pushing the message out there. We're filming. This is all being documented, so it's going to be in rotation on YouTube.
Can you
Facebook
imagine,
and
Derek?
everything.
I'm looking at you, knowing because I know your wife. She's from Iceland. Can you imagine? I mean, this. I mean, it's not. I'm not saying it's going to happen. I'm just saying if someone can do this because they've been from another country, I mean, that would make everyone think who has a wife or a spouse from another country.
I love my wife. The thought still crosses my mind that my daughter has dual citizenship, and at any given moment, if our relationship doesn't work out, she can take my daughter.
Yeah.
And it now, with me saying that, I also understand that I have a good, solid, healthy relationship with my wife. In some cases, on a bright side, because of my established relationship with my wife, that might not be such a bad thing.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? Not quite like your scenario there, Stan. It's
Well,
not the same.
you're Leah. I mean, her mom comes down, and all of a sudden things are going sour. I mean, it sounds like she was easily influenced.
Well,
was she promised something?
Well, after my my little girl was born, that was our second child. I thought Leah was showing signs of postpartum depression. She was crying all the time for no reason, and she didn't know why. I asked her if she wanted to get help. We went to a counselor, and as we're walking out the door, the counselor pulled me off to the side, said he caught her in a lie, and that was after her mother came in to town, and he said, "Be careful, she's got borderline." And I didn't know what that was.
What was the lie? Did you know?
Borderline. The lie? The lie was we were riding down the road, and her mother said I took advantage of a troubled child, and Leah got upset about that. It was a stupid little lie. You know what I mean? And I brought that up in the counselor's meeting when we're talking back and forth, because Leah was saying I was abusing her physically, mentally, and psychologically, and stuff like that. And the counselor caught that lie, but then he said, well, wait a minute, you're saying one thing, and Leah's saying something else, and there's only one other person that could break that, and that would be your mother. Do you mind if we call your mother up? And I'm thinking, oh man, I'm sunk.
Right.
So right there and then, we called her mother up in Trinidad, and I used my phone. I gave it to Leah, and the counselor asked some questions, and then put her on the phone. Well, Leah's mother agreed with what I said. Leah said that she was upset about that. And the counselor just said, look, I'm not here to make judgments on anybody. I'm just here to try to see if I can help people be happy.
Right.
And maybe help the marriage work if that's what you both want.
The more I hear your story, and it's funny because, Annette, are you still with us? Okay, because does this not sound like, does this not sound like the most immaculate book story? Like, I mean, Stan, it does.
Well, there was a movie about something like this before.
Well, Annette is the publicist of Stellium Books, so she could actually help you.
She could do a story
together. So hey, we gotta go to break though, guys. We'll be right back with the Speak Your Mind show right after these messages.
So you're saying borderline depression? Is that what you were saying?
Well, apparently she's. Sounds like a midlife crisis is what she went through, and then the mother took advantage of the midlife crisis. And
well, I thought she was going through, and I think she did have some postpartum depression. She had to have 2 C-sections back to back. It was pretty, traumatizing for a parent. A woman, you know what I mean? And then
it's the whole family though, because you were dealing with it too. My ex-wife had a hysterectomy. I took care of her, and it was a thing.
I was doing everything.
I know exactly where you were at. So
I was cooking. I was buying food. I was like taking care of the kids. I was putting to bed at night. I was just trying to give her a break.
Right.
And it didn't matter what I did. I was, after Leah's mother came, while Leah's mother was there, one night I'm feeding my little girl, okay, I'd already put my son to bed. She comes up to me and she says, if you don't change your ways, here I am with my daughter. I want a divorce. And if you don't change your ways, I'm going to divorce you. I'm going to leave you. And I'm like, Leah, can we talk about this after I put Anastasia to bed? And
what the hell does she want you to change?
I don't know. One of the things she would say that I wouldn't buy her Coca-Cola. Now, I didn't drink Coke. And this was brought up in court. Coke, right? I'm not a Pepsi man. I don't drink any of that. I might drink a beer from time to time, but I don't drink any. I'm kind of a health nut, you know what I mean? Except for drinking beer, and so
I stay away from sodas pretty much.
yeah. So I was buying her cases of Coca-Cola every time we would go out. She was like this Coca-Cola connoisseur. Like we go out to a restaurant, she'd say this doesn't taste right, so I'd have the person change the tank and everything so it tasted perfectly for her. I would buy
I have
her
to
cases.
bring your own.
Okay.
Yeah.
So Barry called back, and his suggestion was, what about microchip implanting and all this?
Oh my God! Now you're getting way out
Yeah.
of. That's
So
just
so
crazy.
it looks like Ron took care of that question.
I mean,
for you.
it doesn't matter. You can microchip
But,
the shit out of your kids if they
but,
go in another country. It's
You
not
got to
doing
make
nothing.
sure that whatever your closer, now you get ready for your strong closer.
Okay.
Yeah, like websites. and stuff like that.
Kids.org.
All that.
And what was the borderline? What was the borderline? The
Borderline
person-
personality disorder.
Okay.
Honey.
You kind of left that because they asked you another question.
Well, that's
so-
what I was told. Yeah, borderline.
Okay.
But I didn't know what that.
Well, we have it on Dundalk TV for you. Okay, so I'm getting set up for these guys.
All right, guys, welcome back to Speak Your Mind here on WCBM 680 Talk Radio. And, we are getting close to the end of our show. And but I tell you, there's some websites that and things that you want to state before we leave. That way people are aware. Yeah.
If anybody would like to donate to the financial causes, hunkskids.org. It has all the legal documents on there except for the warrant. The warrant's not posted on there,
Right.
but the contempt charge and everything like that. There is a fine against her close to $1 million, $1,000 a day. Hunkskids.org. Also, I'd like to thank a couple people that have Gail Sullivan of Permastitch, Kathleen Griffin, who worked on my website and called Endless Media. Rondell Fields, a Single Fathers Association, Trinidad Tobago, who reached out to me, didn't even know who I was. Bridget Poole, Don Adams, Jeffrey Morehouse at Back Home, Noel Hunter, President Iceland, and Randall Murphy, whose children's he had full custody of the kids, and Canada took his custody rights away.
How is that possible?
Well, once the child goes into another country, they lose their U.S.
That's right.
support.
That's correct. Yeah.
So, so children are vulnerable to this, and this is the number one thing, is that it's abusive to children. They're taking half their identity away. They're taking away their grandparents, their godparents, their nieces.
They're taking
and
their
nephews.
life.
They're taking their life away, and they're living in a lie, and they don't know it. And then for the rest of their life, this can affect them unless they get help. And it takes a long time. There was a gentleman who I was just speaking with recently, who was a child who was abducted out of the country, and his mother had him change his name and her name, and he was the first case in the United States to be returned, and he's got a book out, Extraordinary Life. An awesome guy. He lives up in upstate New York, and he has been, and his name is skipping my mind, for God's sake, and I just talked to him the other day. He's an amazing guy. Get his book. It's available on Amazon, Extraordinary Life. Yes, and it talks about what a child goes through. That it took him a couple years, because even after his dad got him back, and he still knew his dad, to even adapt back to his real name.
That's the thing that's going to concern me. Anastasia and your son are so young when they're taken. Every day is like part of that can be erased. Anastasia's not going to remember anything, and that's the sad thing.
Yeah, well, I hadn't seen her for 6 months, and children remember things that you don't realize. And we were just at a NISTAN event up in DC, and children can still remember you. We had a child that was just a young baby and remembered something familiar about their father.
Wow.
A 1-year-old remembered details.
Very good point.
Wow.
Yes.
Well, one thing about that is, I tell people this all the time. I don't care how old a child is when they are taken away. Maybe not from abduction or kidnapping or anything. But when they reach a certain age, they want to know who their parents are. They want to know who their mother is, if the mother's not present, and who their father is. First and foremost, and primarily, one of those two or both. Okay, whether they're foster children or not. Who is my real dad?
Right.
Who is my real mom? And believe me, the same thing applies to you, Stan.
Yeah, and people's going to. I mean, they're going to grow up and realize something was wrong. You just can't hide something like this. It's just not possible.
I have a lot of support in Trinidad and Tobago from a lot of people that realize this is wrong. The Single Fathers Association. Scott Byrne was the first child, and him and his brother were returned, and he's an awesome guy. And his book is to help children to know that there's hope. You know what I mean? Because it's very, very confusing and very difficult and traumatizing for them. He thought his dad was dead, and that's what he was told by his mother. And his book is it's called Extraordinary Circumstances. So if you can get that book, it'll really help people understand the trauma that a child goes through.
And Leah's not going to be able to come back here to the United States. If she is, she's going to face serious criminal charges.
Yeah, but I would pray. I would beg mercy for her if she did. You know what I mean? I wouldn't keep them from seeing their children. I wouldn't. You know, I don't know how that would work, but I would want my children to be healthy, to know their mom and dad.
Right.
Well, here's a far-fetched question for you, but realistic. What could the potential chances of you and her ever reestablishing some kind of reasonable relationship? What I mean, where are you? Because I don't know how many people actually ask you that question. Where are you with that after what she's done? Would you ever
trust
establish a good relationship with her in the future?
You know, I pray for her.
Mm-hmm.
I feel that something happened to her to make her the way she is.
You still love her?
I love her in my
because she's
heart.
the mother of your kids.
The mother of my kids.
Mm-hmm.
I don't hate her. I have a lot of anger toward her mother.
Right.
You know, I think that there's something not right.
Right.
And she is the mother of my kids, and I don't. She's messed up. You know what I mean?
Sure.
And I feel sorry for her.
Would you say on that?
What's that?
Really understand the mixed feelings that would go through.
Oh, yeah.
You know, your body, heart, everything, you know, connected to someone that you're in love with and you have children with. And I think that he's very benevolent to say, I wouldn't keep my kids from her because he wants his kids to have the benefit of both parents.
And before we leave, real quick.
I wanted to say, I'm not the publicist of Stellium, but from the owner.
Oh, there you go.
Thank you for the correction.
If you needed any kind of even advice, you wouldn't have to go and see us. If you needed any advice, come to me. And I was interested in knowing when's the last time you saw your children.
November of 2011.
And let me ask you a real quick question because we're getting ready to get off the air. Have you gotten into another relationship? Are you single? What?
I am in a relationship right now with a beautiful lady.
That was it. Oh, damn.
Okay, so right now, you're going to put that on your Speak the Mind page. Can you spell out the...
See ya.
Hunkskids.org.
Yeah, just...
HUNKSKIDS.org. Hunkskids.org.
Do you have a Facebook page or any other, or is that the main place you want people to go?
Bring Hunks Angels, but that is my Facebook page. You can get through there too. You can go to my name, Stan Hunkovic, is my Facebook page. If you put my name into Google, you're going to find a lot of websites that she put up. There's probably about 12 websites that she's put up. She's accused me from everything from abuse to trying to kidnap my children when I had to hand over my passports to see my children.
A lot of this stuff that happens, Barry, goes undocumented.
Now you're going to send it to Speak Your Mind page too?
Sure.
Okay, because that was important. That's what I was trying to get.
You want me to speak?
No. You send your whatever information you find important to the Speak Your Mind page. That's a important place to put it. So easy for people to find. So
Speak Your Mind page.
Yes.
Is that on Facebook?
It is. It's actually this radio show's site. So you have to like the page. I can't tell from over here. I've been on it a few times. You'd be better off asking
Is this it?
Jimmy.
What is it?
Speak Your Mind page.
I don't know. You have to ask Derek.
Derek, is this? I was asking him to send it to the Speak Your Mind page. That's what I want you to wind up saying. Go to
Is
your
this your
page.
page?
No, go. Let's see.
Speaker Mind.
That was me when I was a sergeant.
Well, how about that? Sure.
How long ago was that?
Oh, Christ, a long time ago. Like 10 years ago.
How many years were you in?
I was like 11 years. About
11?
10, 11 years, yeah. Yeah, I would never do it again, man. Never. The city
God
is
damn.
too. Oh,
Okay. So let's see. Did you have any other information you might want to share that you didn't on the radio?
Hunks, I'd like to thank Gail Sullivan for Permastitch. She donated over 100 T-shirts for my cause. Bridget Poole, Don Adams, Rondell Fields, the Single Father Association of Trinidad and Tobago, Kathleen Griffin for endless hours working on my website, and for also helping out with calling media to try to get me on different stations. Jeffrey Morehouse from back home, Noel Hunter and Randall Murphy from iStand, and so many other people that have helped me along the way. The other fathers, Charles Ferrero, who's fighting for his children out of Uganda, Helena and Henry,
It was a great show tonight. Thank you.
out of Uganda and Africa. There's been over 1 million children have been abducted
Hey
globally,
Joe, thank you for watching the show.
and
Karen,
other
thank you for
statistics say
watching the show.
3,500 to 5,000 children have been
Hey,
abducted in
Venus,
the
it was an
United
amazing
States
show
every year.
tonight, man.
There's 1,000 that
I
are
really
abducted
appreciate Stan
internationally.
for coming into the station. and
Now, what
having
about the
us.
Trumps? You said, where's that going? Is that something that just
Uh,
happened
well,
You'll see it all over
recently?
YouTube very
We,
shortly.
under the Trump administration, there is
I'm gonna go
an
ahead and get out of
individual
here, guys.
under
You guys
Ivanka
go
Trump
get-
who
I'll see you
is
next week.
very interested in helping our cause. This is the first time any administration has taken any.
Have you gone to D.C. or is it just?
I have gone to D.C.
I mean, since you've talking to them, this group, or are you just in phone conversation with them at this point?
Well, I've had I've met the gentleman in person. I don't want to mention his name,
Yeah, I was
but
hoping
I
you were
could.
going to close the show out, but you asked.
Yeah, so I can tell you that
That's
there
all
has
good.
been a group, the whole group, that has been invited into the White House. The first time that's ever happened.
How wonderful!
Yes.
And you're going to do that? You've already done that, or you're going to?
I haven't gone into the
Yeah,
White
yeah,
House
yeah. I heard
myself.
last
My
night.
case was brought up on my behalf, but there were, I think, of 6, 7 people that were personally invited. It was top secret, and at the last minute, they were all brought in so they could talk about their situation. So they're trying to change things of how things work in the State Department.
That's great.
Yeah.
And it has to feel so good to you. I just, just hearing everybody talk about it. Actually, I'm a stepfather and, divorced now, but still have stepchildren. And I just know how it is to love your family. And actually, I was, during the divorce, even though they were my stepchildren, it just hurt so bad for the longest time. And the only reason my mother had a very serious motor vehicle accident. She went underneath of a tractor trailer, and I just said, I have different things I have to worry about in life other than that. But I miss my children, my stepchildren, every day. So I have the biggest compassion for your situation. So,
Thank you very much.
and thank you very much. The thing that hit me is just I could tell from your very first interview that I watched what a nice guy you are, and it was heartbreaking to see it happen to such a nice guy. So,
Thank you very much.
Yeah,
Keep
but
my children in your prayers.
but even someone with a heart in an exterior, they still feel the same things. But just with you just resonated.
What happened was
Your kindness and specialness and everything just really showed. So,
Thank you.
It worked at
Thank you.
the,
Thank you for taking time. Thank you.
my pleasure.
She was murdered. Hey, you guys
We'll
know
follow
about
it.
this, right? The nun back in the 60s. It was
Yes, there's a movie out about
Well,
it.
yeah. Well, the thing is, the ladies that are actually doing this investigation that went to the school, they want to find or kill her. Well, of course, there's so much
Cover up.